Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the roadmap that Gaijin has once again released. Remember, we had this roadmap all the way from the start of this year. Seems like it's a new thing that they're going to be doing every year. And they basically have made a post here which talks about a bunch of the things that they've added, but also we can have a look at what's going to be coming in the future too. Remember that when it came to this roadmap, it wasn't just for the first two updates of the year, it was also for the summer of 2024. Usually they do kind of like a little update in like August or something like that. I remember Regia Marina, for example, was one of those kind of mini updates, or not really mini, but just smaller than the 5 major ones that they do a year. So look forward to that, and we can have a look at all the stuff that's there. So obviously I have separate flares and chaff, and hopefully they fixed all of the bugs with this. I've still been having issues with mine, especially the periodic countermeasures. For some reason, it just doesn't count it and thinks that the countermeasures are empty still on the MiG-21 BIS. They also added the additional ground modules, which, to be honest, I haven't really seen make much of a difference with a bunch of vehicles. So we'll have to see if it actually changes the effectiveness of many vehicles going forward. Obviously, I haven't had a ton of experience at the BR where, you find these things, so we'll see what goes on with them. And then also the healing the wounded crew members. I actually think they've done pretty good with this one. I was a little bit worried that they were going to set it up in a way so you would only have, like, even if you had like a tomato crew member, he could be fully healed. But instead, what they're basically doing is they're making it so if you have a tomato or a red crew member, they can heal to a point where they don't lose as much use of their self. So if you have, for example, a gunner who gets tomatoed, obviously that hits the targeting speed of the gun massively. So now they'll heal over time until they get to orange, so therefore they're a little bit more useful. So if you are one of those unfortunate people who gets hit with a bomb or a round and everybody turns red, you are effectively more useful now, where previously what would happen is you were basically useless. They also updated the crew models, which, we've talked about previously. They're also going to be doing some more crew models, which is kind of cool soon. And then also the visual weaponry selector for aircraft. So this one has come in, and there's still a few bugs with it, at least from what I've seen. I'll show you which one it is. We'll just have a look real quick. So, for example, on the MiG-21 BIS, I have, my missiles on each side that you can see. So, if you go to the test drive, you can see the weapon selector here. Now, I actually have it unbound because it's bound to Shift A, and I use A and Shift for things. But what you can do if you didn't know is if you hold Alt, you can actually like mouse over different things. And especially in ground, if you have the whole hotbar, you can actually click each of the different things and it will actually work on stuff. Same with air. So here, you can see if I click here, it shows you everything. So you have flares, chaff, and then obviously both, so you can actually pick to do this if you're not putting in a button, and then also you can use it as a weapon selector, which is really cool. What I can't do right now, as I said before, there are some bugs with it seems, is my collapse expand action bar in battle doesn't work on this vehicle or any other. So you can see here that there are still bugs with it, but c'est la vie, that is something that I feel like is kind of a hallmark of this update right now. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on with this. Dragging and dropping vehicles is pretty cool, and then also rearranging crew slots is pretty cool. They have actually said that they are going to make it drag and drop, so you don't have to hit like the horizontal lines. Instead, what you can do is you can just move, you can just drag them across. It's really cool they did this, and it's been something that people have been asking for a long time, so it's just nice to see. And then also new Air Conquest modes in Air Arcade, so testing some new mechanics and giving some, new ways of playing the game, I think is always pretty cool to do. They added aircraft missile timers as well if you missed it on the hood, so for simulator players or helicopter players, which I believe most of this stuff was already there for helicopter players, but at least for, some, you'll get more information, which is cool. then of course we have the roadmap itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over this bit. This is the part which is going to be coming out over the next few months. This stuff is the stuff that has already been here and kicking. So we'll go through both sides because I think it's important to do so. At the end of the day, it's nice to look forward to see what is coming and also to show how much they've added on top of all of the vehicles, that they've done. Like the amount of stuff that they've added to War Thunder recently is insane. And I feel like I didn't think they could ramp up more, but it just seems like they are as they continue to go along. So for game mechanics and gameplay, which is one of the most important parts, you can see here new mechanics for saving aircraft at an exit zone. So for aircraft events in ground arcade, battles with random rewards, and an instant silver line reward in World War mode. So that shows you they're still working on World War mode for some reason. But basically, if you didn't know, in World War mode, if you had like a convoy mission where you were playing like aircraft, or if you were just playing like any mission which involved aircraft, there was like an exit zone that you could go to. And then if you J'd out in that area, you kept the aircraft. And also at the same time, that basically means that since you kept the aircraft, you could use it in the next battle, and I don't think it costs like any repair or anything like that. So yeah, it looks like they're going to be doing that in Ground Arcade, which makes sense. It's something that I feel like should have been there for a long time, since the mechanic is already sorted out. Then also, detailed damage models for helicopters. For the love of God, could we rush this? Could this come out next week? I am so sick of facing helicopters where you shoot them with any round and it just goes damage to the tail. And then the helicopter just keeps flying fine and nothing's an issue, and then you get rocketed in the face. As a person who's been playing a lot around 7.0, 8.0, 9.0, 10.0 recently, Jesus, is it annoying getting bum rushed by helicopters, especially on conquest maps, because there's only a few lines that you can go down. It's incredibly annoying, okay? So just giving a way of actually dealing with helicopters, kind of similar to what they've done with the other areas, would be fantastic, because there's just too many empty space in them right now, and even when you destroy parts of them, they still just continue to fly. It's very annoying. Then you have the ability to control projectile fuse settings in battle. So setting the fuse for fragmentation, high explosive enabling, disabling radio fuses. This will be in ammunition and fuses that actually had it possible in real life. This is really cool. And if you didn't know, actually, I should probably show this. But they didn't just add the ahead round to the PG-09 in terms of this type of round. All of the Abramses with a 120mm, they actually got access. Maybe not this one, or this one. Never mind. Wait, no, these are new. So they added some Heat FS shells. I'll actually pick a vehicle just to show you one that I've actually spaded out. So the 120S or the M1A1, right? So the M1A1, which is right here, they added the M830A1 round, and then also the M908. Both of these are Heat MP rounds, so they're multi-purpose, and that means that you don't just have to, or you can't just use them against like ground vehicles, you can also take them against helicopters and also planes. You can see here that this one actually has a trigger radius and also a fuse sensitivity and a fuse delay, so if you actually get it close to a helicopter, it will just kaboom it. The M908 doesn't have any of that, apart from the fuse delay, so I don't know the difference between these two. My guess is this one you have to actually manually get the range sorted for the trigger radius, or, when it triggers, and then this one is a proximity, but I would have to check. But every 120 Abrams got access to these two shells to, I suppose, counter helicopters and anything weird like that, so should probably look out for that if you want to. Then we have the reworked APHE shells, changing the fragmentation dispersion pattern, retaining the projectile's head on its trajectory after the explosion occurs. So this will be based on player voting results, so watch out for that. Is that something that's really needed? I thought APHE in general is not too bad. The only issue I have with APHE is the fact that a lot of APHE shells have access to weird overpressure, and a bunch of them seem to do it, but then others don't, and I would just like to see the criteria in there. Then also you have the construction of replenishment zones and trenches on maps by vehicles with limited ammunition for their main gun. For example, some self-propelled guns, ATGM carriers, and air defense systems. I'm completely fine with this. We've talked about this for a while. I feel like AAs are generally okay when it comes to their ammunition, but stuff like the SU-51 or the Semavente 9053 or the toe boxes, this does limit where they go on a map. But I've been playing one of the toe boxes recently, and we're going to spade it, but it's like pulling teeth sometimes. The M113A1 toe, right? This vehicle has 10 ATGMs. That's it. You only get 10 ATGMs. So it doesn't have any mobility, no survivability, it can get overpressured, and then also at the same time you only get 10 rounds, and they're worse than a standard AP/HG when it comes to using them. If you have a look at the OF40, it has 61 rounds, and for me I usually take about 20, and also way more mobility, survivability, all of those things, and it's low BR. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, like vehicles like this are super limited in their ammunition, and if you want a more extreme example, you know, the Semavente, which is in the Tech Tree 4, there it is, the 9053 Semavente. It has 8 rounds, and then also another one that we played recently because of the Page of History, the SU-51 has 8 rounds too. So it's just kind of crazy, these vehicles having such low amounts, but then, you know, that's where we're at. So I kind of like this idea of replenishment zones. I don't need, like, fobs or anything like that. Just bonk down, like, a circle somewhere that maybe changes every so often because you don't want people just artillerying the circle all the time. But just to give these things a little bit of replenishment, because they do need them. And I'm fine with them not working with MBTs. I'm fine with them not working with light tanks and stuff like that, right? Then also updated crew models, which is really cool. So you get the USMC ground vehicle crews. This is going to be really cool. The US and Swedish air crews with the HMD, that is going to be sick. Like, that's just going to look amazing. And then also late British and German air crews. Isn't that really cool? Like, all these three are going to be amazing. We had some really cool updated crews this update, and we're going to get some even crazier ones, which is nice to see. You know, I think, especially with the HMD stuff, right? Like, that's going to be massive. Then, looking at the other parts, so for the interface, a new reticle for modern tanks and improving the display of tank systems in the gunner sight. This worries me, but we'll see what goes on with it. But yeah, that should be okay. And then also notification of when a reported player was banned. I mean, without specifying the username, they added that in, did they? Yeah, so basically you can't go after people. But yeah, I don't like these types of systems. I get that people get a kick out of it, like they feel like they're fighting the power and all of that stuff, like when it comes to doing stuff like this, but I personally don't need gratification to know that somebody that was reported who was cheating or whatever was banned, but I know other people do. So that's just how it goes. Also, the ability to research inventory items that are not needed into random items or other types. So they'll probably just bring over the console system, or at the same time, they will just keep, this is just going to be more gambling. So they're gonna make you gamble to be able to get stuff. And then if you don't like the stuff, you can just recycle it into other stuff and then gamble again. And then just keep going in circles. And then everything will have timers. Just like they tried to implement, remember that? Like a year or two ago, because the inventories were taking up too much space. So we got to add a timer to everything, so you got to use it. Luckily, that got enough backlash. Then we have social features, so customization of the player card window, profile background, profile type, and avatar frame. So they have actually added in more information in this of what they're working on. This is cool. Player minicard is a tooltip in the statistics window. Hopefully this comes along with some kind of prestige system, which should be nice to see. Overall, this is fantastic. This will be really cool. Improving the destruction replay screen, showing the minicard of the player who destroyed you. And there's right. There was a game Some of you may have played these games. Call of Duty. Call of Duty as a game series has brought us many things. It's brought us joy. It's brought us an ability to learn many new words that we've never heard before through many different social interactions, whether positive or negative. It also had a full customization system when it came to profile-like icons and also banners, and even weapon skins. So what this meant is some people took this to the extreme and started using interesting patterns to be able to create stuff. Very derogatory things usually, but it was funny. Like a lot of the time, it was quite entertaining. Now, I don't think War Thunder is going to go full customization because obviously, you can't. Nowadays on the internet, I feel like you could never ever get away with something like that. But it was at least hilarious. It's a timepiece in history that you will never get back. But at least you'll have a little bit of fun with it. I'm sure people, just like in War Thunder, where certain people use certain text chat things or titles to kind of have fun of people. I'm sure there'll be stuff like this too. So then you have public squads and mechanics for searching for the squad based on interests of other players. That was supposed to come this update, but they never did. And then also another thing that was supposed to come this update too is the research bonuses for new nations from the previous roadmap, which, it's been a year. It's been a year. It's been a whole year that this isn't here. So we'll have to see what goes on with this. All these sound very positive, right? Obviously, some have more ramifications than others, but also understand that there will be some voting going on from these parts. It looks like we're going to get a pretty hefty summer 2024 update, which should be kind of nuts. So look forward to that. I'll try and keep you in. I'll try and keep you in the loop when it comes to everything. Obviously, the summer's a pretty busy period for me, but we'll get through it. And as always, look after yourselves. Peace be with you. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.